To those of you who enjoy tearing through enemies by bashing buttons like crazy, this video is for you. I'm Josh, welcome to HotFix Gaming. Today I'm bringing you 10 of the best underrated hack and slash games to quench your thirst for battle. So, let's get started. 10. Splatterhouse. Starting off strong, Splatterhouse is a horror-themed hack-and-slash beat-em-up type of game that was released in 2010 and can really help scratch that itch for scary games. The game follows Rick Taylor, who joins his girlfriend Jennifer to interview Dr. Henry West at his house. For some reason, Rick decided that this would be the best time to propose to her, but just as he's about to pop the question, they get attacked by Dr. West's horrifying experiments. The attack results in Jennifer being kidnapped and Rick close to dying, but that's when the Terror Mask calls out to Rick and says it would save him and help save Jennifer if he just puts it on. What happens next is absolute carnage, and it's definitely something you'll love, if hack and slash games are your preferred genre. 9. Hand of Fate. Now, Hand of Fate is completely different than the last entry. Instead of a game with horror elements, you now have an action RPG roguelike with deck building and hack and slash elements. This hybrid unicorn of a game, however, is quite entertaining. With an attractive story, a varied bestiary and equipment, you get quite an original gameplay that's not that easy to come by in other games. There are also some interesting mechanics such as benedictions, curses and artifacts that you can use. The idea to constantly switch between the card game and the RPG style of play is brilliant and definitely worth a try. Number 8. Marlow, Briggs and the Mask of Death. In a similar manner to Splatterhouse, we have yet another mask that brings our protagonists back to life. In Marlow, Briggs and the Mask of Death, the main character Marlow is killed by his girlfriend's boss, only to be returned back to life by a mask. And that's where the similarities between Splatterhouse and this title end. Bound to an ancient Mayan death mask who had no one to talk to for 2,000 years, Marlow now does not only have to save his girlfriend, who's been abducted by her employer, but also serve some good old justice to the bad guys. Marlow Briggs takes inspiration from the best of blockbuster films, comic book heroes and action games, with its focus on relentless high-octane combat, exotic, danger-filled environments and epic set pieces. And many players have compared it to God of War. So, if that's your jam, definitely check this game out. 7. Soulstice. One of the more recent titles on this list, Soulstice, seems to be taking heavy inspiration from the Devil May Cry series. The dark, sinister atmosphere in the desolate world from the game is spot on, and you almost effortlessly conjure smooth and flashy battles from the controller. In this game, you get to play both Briar and Lute, her ghostly younger sister who's been bound to her soul. This system of controlling both sisters while also trying to maintain auras while slashing through foes is intuitive and simple to master. However, if there's one thing players have complained about, it's the camera. You'll either love or hate these fixed camera angles, but if you can get past that, Soulstice delivers some compelling world building and central sibling relationship between Briar and Lute, as well as some memorable and varied boss fights. 6. Prototype 1. The Prototype series was short-lived, unfortunately. This was an open-world sandbox style of game where players can take control of Alex Mercer, a powerful being with shape-shifting powers and the ability to absorb memories and disguise himself as someone else. Developed by Radical Entertainment, this series only had 2 installments, with the third planned game being scrapped. The game is quite a lot of fun actually. The amount of carnage that you can unleash is staggering. Running at over 200 km an hour and punching someone with force that can even shake up an M1A2 Abrams tank is just fun. The shape-shifting powers allow Alex to create things like biological battle armor, giant blades that can cut through man and machine with ease, tendrils that can hit helicopters. Add to this running up on buildings and being able to disguise yourself as almost anyone, this is one hell of a fun game. And if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to let us know by hitting that like button. 5. Hi-Fi Rush. A rhythm-based game that is also a platformer and hack and slash. Hi-Fi Rush is a game for all the family. Heck, I even think your grandma might enjoy this one. Hi-Fi Rush is a classic video game action that blends amazing combat in a unique hybrid of genres, in with memorable characters, a wicked sense of humour, terrifying gameplay that's accessible for all players, and mind-blowing visuals and music. It's an instant classic and delivers a candy-coated blast of chaos that conceals a clear labour of love and a weird purity to it all that you have to experience. 4. Warhammer 40k Space Marines. I know that Space Marines 2 has recently launched and it's got great reviews. However, if you haven't managed to get your hands on it yet, you can always play the first installment. Space Marines puts you in the shoes of Captain Titus, a Space Marine of the Ultramarines chapter, and a seasoned veteran. It's a great introduction to the Warhammer expansive lore. An excellent third-person shooter with fantastic orc slaying and a good story. The game is a blast. It really makes you feel how incredibly powerful these Space Marines really are. 3. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Based on the film with the same title and releasing at the same time as the movie, Wolverine's gameplay is an entertaining mix of gory combat, light puzzles, and platforming segments. While X-Men Origins has repetition in spades, it's the kind of repetition Wolverine/action game fans are going to love. I mean, can you get sick of literally slicing someone in two and watching the blood explode across the screen? Can you get sick of hoisting a bad guy in the air and savagely stabbing him in the gut over and over again? Can you get sick of watching Wolverine get beaten down to his adamantium skeleton only to sit there and marvel as his muscles and skin grow back in real time? Because I can't. Number 2. Dante's Inferno. Descend the 9 levels of hell as Dante, a tortured and morally corrupt Templar knight subjected to the horrors of hell after being literally stabbed in the back. It's a harrowing journey for Dante, but a visual spectacle for those lucky enough to guide him on his quest for salvation. Equipped with the Scythe of Death, the Templar battles through hectic hordes of creatures that are as fun to look at as they are to maim. Dante comes across notable names of mythology like Lust, Cerberus, the River Styx, Cleopatra, and so much more the deeper into hell he gets. Monster and boss design are at their peak in Dante's Inferno, throwing some of the most damning creations ever to grace the PS3, Xbox 360, and PSP. Unfortunately, as Visceral Games close down, we'll never get to see a sequel to this hellish epic hack-and-slash title. 1. Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Lords of Shadow introduces us to Gabriel Belmont, a member of a holy order of knights called the Brotherhood of Light. Gabriel's beloved wife was brutally murdered by the evil forces of darkness, and her soul trapped for eternity. Neither living nor dead, she realizes the horrific truth of what is at stake and guides Gabriel to his destiny and hopefully salvation for the world. This game is a good action-adventure title, with a focus on linear gameplay to tell a fantastic story, and is more similar to a modern take on the classic Vania type of gameplay, rather than a Metroidvania attempt. So if you like action or cinematic games, you'll enjoy this. With a combat system that cleverly overcomes button mashing, wonderful design work, and a story that spans longer than your average video game of the time, Lords of Shadow is exactly what the Castlevania franchise needed to find popularity with a new generation of gamers, and us oldies too. What other underrated hack-and-slash games would you recommend? Let us know your top choices in the comments section below. And if you enjoy gaming content and don't want the fun to end, make sure to check out the 2 videos I've linked on screen.